Greetings, salutations, and welcome to SportsLook, the sports television program for the high plains of West Texas and eastern New Mexico. I'm your host, Doc Elder, and because I was very influenced back in the day by the Sheryl Crow song, A Change Will Do You Good, we're going to change things up and have two new guests. We're going to have Isabella Robertson. She works for the Sports Information Department. We're going to have Grady Goodson. He's the new head coach of Greyhound Rodeo. I'll finish up with an overtime, but as always, I'll start out with an Eastern recap. Both Greyhound Rodeo squads placed at the most recent meet in Snyder, Texas. More will be said about those programs later on in the program. For Greyhound softball, they took 3 out of 4 this weekend, played a doubleheader against Western New Mexico, then played another doubleheader against Western. For the Greyhound guys, they went to San Antonio, played St. Mary's, came back with 2 wins out of 4 contests, so pretty good weekend for them. And Greyhound track and field split squad, the Greyhound ladies did really well in Denton. Greyhound guys did really well in their meet, so they are primed and ready to go for hosting the conference championships. Well, that has been your Eastern recap, so we'll clear this out and I will bring in Isabella Robertson right now. Welcome back to SportsLook, and a pleasure to bring to the set of SportsLook a student here at Eastern New Mexico University, Isabella Robertson. And Isabella, welcome to SportsLook.
Thank you.
Where are you from, and what was the process that got you here to Eastern?
I'm from Raton, New Mexico. It's northern New Mexico. And I came here mostly because both of my parents graduated from here.
Not necessarily your first choice?
No, I was supposed to go to another school. I was supposed to go to state, actually.
Very good.
Yeah.
But we're glad that you made the decision to go to Eastern.
Thank you. Me too.
And both your parents went here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My mom, actually, she had me while she was going to school here. And then my dad graduated from here the same year I graduated high school.
Wow, a little bit of a gap.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did your mom major in?
English. She's actually a teacher now.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
What level does she teach at?
I believe she's a title teacher for
Okay.
like 6th grade, something like that.
Very good. And what did your dad get his degree in?
Criminal justice. He's a police officer.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, here at Eastern New Mexico University, you are associated with athletics, but you're one of those behind-the-scene people. You
Yeah.
work for the Sports Information Department, and what do you actually do?
So I work very well with Cam and Jose, who are the sports information directors on campus, and I just kind of help them with whatever they need to do. I sort through photos, I take photos for game days, or lately I've been announcing at softball games, and I make graphics and do social media posts and stuff like that.
How did you get involved with SID in the first place?
My freshman year, they had just started releasing all the jobs available on the new website that they created, and that was one of the first ones there. And I always enjoyed sports, so I applied and I got hired.
So talk a little bit about your association with sports. What sports did you play?
My whole life, I've played volleyball and basketball, and then in middle school, I ran track a little bit, did not like that. And when I got to my senior year, I switched to throwing for track, and then I also played tennis.
My goodness, you're a versatile young lady. So what was your favorite?
Probably volleyball and basketball, they're even.
Mm-hmm. Did you think about trying out for a squad here?
I've thought about it, but I kind of enjoy just being a regular student, no longer a student athlete.
Mm-hmm. So what was the high point of your athletic career at Raton?
Probably my senior year. We've all, like, because it's a really small town, so we've all grown up and like all played together every year, and we actually did really well that season, especially in basketball. And yeah, we just played really well together.
In terms of your job interview process, what did you like about the position? What did you find most intriguing about what Jose and Cam had to say?
I liked the fact that I would be able to get to work game days and be like courtside or on the field while the games were going on.
What was the very first thing that you did with sports information? What was your first responsibility?
I actually remember this very well. My first game I ever worked was a football game, and I worked like the camera upstairs where you just kind of zoom in on everyone, but the wind was insane and I got really sick after that, and it was just not a fun experience, and Jose told me I would never have to do that again.
So everything has been gravy since then.
Yeah.
So what was your second responsibility?
I think taking pictures for game days. Yeah.
And if you had to, I'm sure you enjoy all sports, but what's your favorite sport to photograph for?
Probably basketball.
It's great because you get to be close and
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
and everybody's kind of in the same place and you know where the ball is. While in football, sometimes like, oh, that was a fake handoff.
Yeah,
Somebody else got the ball. So what have you talked a little bit about it, but let's go more in depth. So what else have you done for sports information?
Oh, I've done so much. I've worked pretty much every position for game days. So like I've ran production, I've done PA, I've taken pictures, I've done stats, I've done music, scoreboard, and then I also have an office position with Cam and Jose where I go through pictures and I make graphics and I schedule posts and stuff.
Wow, man, you quite an accomplished young lady.
Thank you.
So, got to ask you a question about the music. Do Cam and Jose say these are the songs, or do you get any sort of input?
Cam has a set playlist that we use for all the games, yeah.
Is it pretty cool, or could
I
it
mean,
use some
I like the
improvement?
songs.
What's your favorite song that we play?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't have
I'm
an
a big
answer to
fan
that
of
one.
Seven Nation Army.
Oh, I do like that one too, yeah.
Yep.
I like when they play Thunderstruck when I'm announcing the softball girls.
Exactly. So speaking of which, what did you ask to do that? Were you assigned, or was it kind of just like a natural gravitation to that job for you?
For announcing or just last year Jose couldn't find anyone else to do it, so he asked me if I would, and I was really nervous because I hadn't done anything like that. And so I did it all softball season last year, and I guess I was good enough that he wanted me to do it again, so.
Well, I've had the opportunity to broadcast. Sometimes I'm asked to do the play-by-play for Flow College Network, and so I've been up there when you've been announcing.
Yeah.
I was going to guess that you were a broadcast journalism major.
No.
Not a broadcast journalism major. What are
No.
you majoring in?
I'm actually majoring in psychology.
Ah, very good.
Yeah.
What do you hope to do with your degree?
I kind of wanted to switch career paths, but I'm graduating in May, so it was too late for me to switch degrees. But I want to come back and get my master's in sports administration and then hopefully keep working in sports information.
Well, I was smiling as you were saying that because my older son got his master's degree from Eastern in sports
Oh, that's
administration for
cool.
the very same reason.
Oh my gosh, okay, that's really cool.
Yeah, and he had actually worked for sports information as an undergrad and then made almost
Wow.
exactly the same career path that you
Yeah.
chose. Okay, so in terms of psychology, I always ask this to my students, what's been your favorite class within your major?
Probably abnormal psychology.
And who teaches that?
Dr. Gill.
Leslie has been a colleague of mine at Eastern for a quarter of a century now, and most psychology students usually point to Dr. Gill.
I love her. She's so nice. She's my advisor too, so I see her all the time.
Excellent. So within your chosen career path that you'd like to do to come back and get the master's degree, do you hope to stay in the state of New Mexico and be on the SID school team at one of the state schools, or are you kind of looking to broaden your horizons, go somewhere else?
I wouldn't mind staying, but I would like to go somewhere else. I kind of just wherever's gonna hire me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Would you like to be at a bigger school where you usually just concentrate on being SID for one sport, or do you kind of like it at Eastern where you get a number of sports?
I think I've liked the experience of having a number of sports, but I think in the future having only one sport to focus on would be easier.
Oh, no question about it. Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So let's talk about the years that you've been here and the memorable moments. Pick out a particularly memorable basketball game that you remember working some aspect of SID.
Okay. There was one my freshman year. I was sitting right under the goal taking pictures, and I think it was Jose maybe went up to dunk, but like almost landed on me, and it was funny after the fact, but
A little terrifying to see a
yeah.
6'9" guy coming barreling right at you.
Yeah.
And in terms of like an exciting game, what home basketball game is the one that really stands out?
Honestly, I say any of the women's games I've watched this year. The men were really good too, but the women this year were so good, and I loved every single game. They played really well, and you could just see the chemistry on the court too.
And a lot of the games came down like to the last second,
Yes,
or the Midwestern
exactly.
game came down to the last split second.
Yeah, they were all so exciting, yes.
All right, let's switch sports and let's talk about football. You were, during your years at Eastern, there have been two different head coaches. We had the Ty Hyatt era. We've also had the Kelly Lee. So looking at the football games that you've been associated, what game is memorable?
I actually am gonna be honest, I haven't watched very many football games.
Mhm.
I'm not a huge fan of football, so I tried not to work as many of those as I could.
And you see, to me, that's funny because we've got twin brothers from Richmond that are on the team. I would think that would be like, I got to go out and watch my boys.
I've
there.
watched like the important games like homecoming and the wagon wheel games, but I just go to watch those. I don't work them.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about softball, the sport that you're most closely associated because you're the voice of Eastern softball now. What games have stood out in your memory?
This semester they've had a few good ones. There's a new pitcher this year that I really enjoy watching. She's really good, and I think a couple weeks ago she pitched like the full 2 games and did so well, and she met like 100 strikeouts in her career here, and so it was just really cool to watch.
Yeah, we've got a young lady by the name of Rodriguez who's out of California.
Yeah,
She's
she's really good too.
And we've got a freshman by the name of Guillen.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it's her. Yeah.
yeah, she actually pitched on Sunday, and I'm sorry, on Monday, and got a 4-1 win for Eastern.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
good.
That game was really good too. I announced that game as well.
I figured you were there. Unfortunately, my duties at the university prevented me from being out there. All right, let's switch and let's talk. What other sports stand out? I mean, because obviously we have had a lot of sports at Eastern. So pick another sport and give us a memorable game that you were associated with.
Volleyball this year. I also got to announce one of those games, but they had a tournament at the beginning of the semester, and just watch because that was one of the first times I watched all the new players play too, and they played really well together, and it was just really exciting to see them play.
In terms of your interaction with the student athletes, because you are taking pictures, do you ever have a student athlete say, hey, that was really a good picture, thanks?
I don't think so. They kind of don't remember me from taking pictures. Like I have them in classes and stuff, but they never realize that it's me taking pictures sometimes. Yeah, it's really funny.
Wow. Okay. Well, Isabella, I am so glad that whatever prompted you to make the decision to go to Eastern, you made the decision. It's great to listen to your voice, and look forward to hearing you for at least a couple more weeks with Greyhound softball.
Of course, thank you.
All right, well, that is going to wrap up our first interview segment. So what we'll do is we'll clear this out, and we're going to bring in the head coach of Greyhound Rodeo right now. Welcome back to SportsLook, and I bring to the set of SportsLook a man who needs no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyway. We've got Grady Goodson, the head coach of Greyhound Rodeo. And Coach, welcome to the show.
Doc, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Well, Grady, anybody in this part of the world probably knows this, but just for the sake of people who might live in Hobbs or other parts of the listening area, where are you from, and what was the process that got you to be the head coach at Eastern?
Born and raised here in Portales, New Mexico. With no choice to be a Greyhound. Graduated alumni 2008, 2009. Rodeoed for Eastern under Albert Flynn, under David Browder. So been through some changes. Parents own and operate a Western wear store locally here for 51 years. I was hit up by the athletic director to step in as interim head rodeo coach here for this remaining of the semester, and I said I'd gladly accept. We got a good group of students. They are students first and then athletes second. So these are a good group of kids that I'll get to coach here for next couple of weeks. So it's going to be great.
And you did mention the fact that you're associated with a local business, and
Yes, sir.
Margie Western Wear located on the square in Portales, and you are an institution.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's good. 51 years. We're going to celebrate in June. So we're very blessed to have that business and operate here in Portales.
So talk a little bit about your association with rodeo. How far back does rodeo go in your family?
Oh, my goodness. Probably since I was 4 or 5 years old. We lived here. Mom and Dad run the store. And so in the summers, that's what we did. That was our family vacation. We hauled to rodeos. Did have an older brother who's 8 years older than me. So he kind of got into the rodeoing, and my dad team roped. So there wasn't a choice for me. I just fell in love with it at a young age. And so now I'm being able to bring my boy in, and he's fallen in love with it too. So with that, 4-H rodeoing, High Plains rodeoing, Texas high school rodeo, and then ultimately college, and college rodeoed for Eastern. Yep.
So in your lifetime, what events have you done in rodeo?
Mainly events I've done just the timed events. Kef roping and team roping is my main events that I've done all my life.
So talk a little bit about the difference between the two.
I mean, you've got your rough stock, which is going to be your bulls, bareback, saddle bronc, and then you got your timed events, which is going to be your steel wrestling, kef roping, and a team roping. That's on the men's side. The ladies' side, they can add in team roping. They've got goat tying, breakaway roping, and barrel racing. This region, not everybody knows, the Southwest region is the toughest region in the United States. Especially this last weekend, we had girls 2 flat was a cutoff in the breakaway. 244 breakaway ropers, and our girls got to beat 234 of them to be in the top 10. So very tough competition, very tough.
And talk about the difference on an individual level between calf roping and team roping.
Kef roping, it's one single event. You're on your own against that kef. So you run down there and you tie the kef down. The team roping, you got 2 horses, you got 2 riders, you got 1 steer and 2 ropes. A lot of things can go wrong in the team roping real quick, but that's the difference with why they call it team roping. You have a header and a heeler.
Did you have a preference between the two?
I heeled mainly. I really like that, getting in timing with the steer and being able to, I found it more challenging, which my dad always headed. So he headed and I heeled. So I always got steers turned for me. So it was good, but I can do either end. Yes, sir.
And what memorable rodeo stands out for you when you were younger, and what memorable rodeo stands out when you were roping for Eastern?
Probably when I was a kid in 1996, I won just about every 4-H rodeo there was. It was the step down. We went all across the state of New Mexico. I've got lots of buckles. Even passed some on down to my son, so he's wearing some of them until he won his own, so now he wears his. So that was probably a memorable year, 1996, got close to winning the saddle. And then always 4-H rodeos were great to my heart. High Plains rodeos were great. The rodeo family is like no other. The camaraderie that you have with everybody, and then the connections you have after that. My college rodeo days, I only got to rodeo 2 years. I did some time at Clovis Community College before then, got my welding certification, and then I come to Eastern my last 2 years and rodeoed for them. I tell them guys, do as much college rodeoing as you can, because I'd have loved to have done all 4 years, but I only got to do 2. So any of those rodeos were great. My team roping partner was from WT. I know we're rivals in football, but when it comes to the rodeo world, WT and Eastern were really tight together. So it was good. All the college rodeos were fun. I enjoyed them all.
So when you were younger, going up through 4-H and high school, were there people that you competed against that you became a teammate of at Eastern?
Yes, I had some alumni at Eastern that I Texas high school rodeoed with, and then I had another kid that I High Plains at a younger age that come to school at Eastern and rodeoed. Even this weekend, I got to looking at Eastern alumni that are head coaches now. Cody Bonds is the head coach at WT. You got Stewie Kinley, he's the head coach at New Mexico Junior College. All of them come from Eastern alumni and rodeoed. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And even the Angelo State University coach, I rodeoed with him during college, and he's went to school at WT. So now he's a head coach.
Well, Grady, let's talk about the process. Did you know that there was an opening for the head coach and apply, or did Kevin Fite reach out to you?
Kevin reached out to me with the different circumstances that they had, said, hey, I'm needing somebody to step in as interim right now. And I said, yeah, I'd gladly do it, because this group of kids have been really special to me, especially the 2 senior boys. They watched my boy grow up for the last 3 years, so really tight-knit, and I said, you know what, I'll step in and help these kids out because they need somebody and to keep this deal rolling and moving forward. Yep.
So what was the biggest adjustment that you had to make when you became the head coach?
Trying to manage family life with a 6-year-old, 15-month-old, and my wife, stepping away from the store to manage practices. I'm at the store from 8 to 3, and then I leave there and we go manage practices and stay out there till about 8:30. I did come from practice today. We had girls tying goats at 3. We had boys tying calves at 4. Girls going to break away at 5, and then we got team roping at 6. So it's a busy schedule, especially this last 3 weeks. We were at Sweetwater, Snyder, and then this weekend we go to Big Spring. So back to back to back. We're here for 3 days, gone for 4. So,
talk a little bit about being a head coach. Did you pretty well have an idea of what it was going to entail, or was there something that's like, whoa, we did not see that coming?
I knew it was going to be managing the practices. Some of this other stuff that you have to go through as far as proper documentation and all that, which that was okay. I work for federal government. I understand paperwork and the paper trail. But I mainly knew just managing the practices and keeping the stock there and having the arena groomed and all of that and fine-tuning on those kids to see where we can shave seconds off and adjust on the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how much of it is technique? How much of it is just working with your kids on the mental preparation?
On a lot of this, when they come into this region in college rodeo, people think they can just pick up college rodeoing. That is far from the truth. You have better have it figured out by the time you come and start rodeoing the Southwest region, because like I said, it is very tough. So these kids are good. I mean, it's just little fine-tuning adjustments, how to pick up your swing, change something else, you know, how to step across a calf. That way when you flank and the front leg comes up, just different types of stuff that you can shave seconds off of and do. But most of these kids, they've got it figured out when they come here, and they better.
In a perfect world, you have just exactly the number of kids that you need for each event, but sometimes you've got like 6 kids in one event and you have to choose the 3 that are going to count. How do you do that?
Coach right now, he's still in charge of putting his teams together for the points team. Okay. Albert still does that. With my boys, we're able to have 6 on there because there's 6 men's events. We only have 5 boys. So we have 5 on the team, and then we pick, there's 4 girls events, so we can pick 4 each week on it. These girls and this team, I want to talk more about them. They are knocking it out. You know, had a couple made the short round at Odessa. We go to Sweetwater. We had a couple make Sweetwater. Snyder had some make it there. We had 4 make it last weekend at Snyder. I'm looking for 6 to make the short round this weekend at Big Springs. We just want bigger and better for Eastern Mexico Rodeo.
And obviously there's a last name that we've come to associate with women's rodeo, last name Amari, young ladies from Tularosa, and talk about the sisters.
Yep, they are great. They're into whatever we need to do. They practice smart. They practice correct. Perfect practice makes perfect runs. So that's what we're trying to strive for in that. And them girls are a prime example of how to make perfect practice. Yep.
Who's been the biggest surprise for you? Who was the young lady that when you actually got around them and saw what she was capable of doing, who really stands out?
Especially the last couple of weeks, Kate Anderson. She's a freshman in here, I think, or she might be a transfer student. She ended up 11th in the goats at Sweetwater, 1 hole out by 1/10 of a second. Last weekend at Snyder, she was 11th in the breakaway and 11th in the goat tying. So she is right there knocking on their door. We had our team meeting on Monday, and I told the team, I said, hey, y'all need to give it up for Kate and give her a round of applause because she's knocking out the door. She's been 11th the last 2 weekends. So, they did, and they recognized that. So she's doing good. 3-event cowgirl.
All right, let's talk about the men. Who has been the standout so far during your tenure as a coach?
Standout so far, we got Ty McKenzie. Boy, he's been knocking on the door, making short rounds in the bulldogging. It's like I told him, I said, hey, man, 3rd time's a charm. Here's Big Springs. You made it back to the 2. I said, let's win it and let's do it. Zach Townsend, he's coming on strong. Ended up 10th in the long round at Snyder. Was 9-6 on the steer, and steer wasn't going to lay. And I said, look, you didn't give up. You're going to make it back. He come back, wins the short round and 2nd in the average. So by not giving up, he got him some good chunk of change.
We obviously look at each rodeo as a separate entity, but there is an overall prize at the end of the road. It's the National College Finals Rodeo. Yes. And realistically, does anybody have a chance at this point in time?
I think Shaden, that's what Kevin asked me the other day, what do we have going on and to make college finals? And I said, it can change weekly at a rodeo. And so we never know, but we still, Shacey has a good chance making it. Yep.
Well, Grady, thank you so much
You
for
bet.
stepping in and working with Coach Flynn. Congratulations on the success you've had, and let's hope
Yes.
that we do get somebody up there in Wyoming in June.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. Doc, thanks for having me.
All right. Well, that is going to wrap up the interview segment of Sports Look. So what we'll do is we'll go to the set, and I'll finish up with an overtime right now. Earlier this semester, I talked about the University of Maryland Eastern Shore and how they had lost 56 games in a row. Well, they lost another 8 games in a row, and then they won a game. So good on them. But now they've lost 9 more games in a row. So let's hope that it's not another lengthy losing streak that's in their future. Well, that will finish up in overtime, and that will finish up an episode of Sports Look. I'd like to thank my guests, Isabella Robertson and Grady Goodson. Once again, a great floor crew led by Mr. Kyle. So for all those aforementioned people, this is Doc Elder saying, so long.